Soviet coup Gambit. The theory that Happy Valley's entire survival strategy depends on a Soviet political coup playing out on the other side of the solar system is either the most brilliant or most suicidal plan in the show's history, and fans think it actually works. The sons and daughters of Mars can't win a direct military fight against 6 nations, so the play is to stall. The Iridium blockade triggered simultaneous economic crises in both the United States and Russia, and Irina Morozova, operating through Kurgan on Mars, has used that destabilization to broker an alliance between the Martian rebels and a coup faction back in Moscow. The theory is that the coup succeeds. A new Soviet prime minister grants Mars independence in exchange for guaranteed iridium shipments, and the United States is left without leverage. Fans point to the Kuznetsov station explosion in Episode 8 as the move that persuades the coup faction the SDM is a credible partner, not just a crowd of workers. The exact form Martian sovereignty would take hasn't appeared in any aired episode, but the geopolitical pieces all point the same direction. If the theory is right, For All Mankind resolves its biggest conflict through Cold War maneuvering rather than firepower, which has always been the show's preferred genre. Irina's double cross. Irina Morozova has betrayed every institution she ever served, and the fan theory that she's running the same play on the Martian rebels is backed by 5 seasons of character history. Irina was imprisoned for failing to secure the Goldilocks asteroid for the Soviet Union at the end of Season 4. But fans have started questioning whether that was really a failure or a calculated inconvenience she planned to escape all along. The theory says she deliberately let Goldilocks stay on Mars because she'd already mapped what an iridium economy would look like. By Season 5, she'd coerced her way out of a Siberian prison, and within a handful of episodes positioned herself as broker between the Soviet governor, the Moscow coup faction, and the SDM rebels. On paper, she's offering Mars independence and iridium for the Soviet state. The double-cross theory argues she's actually engineering it so Kurgan, the corporate entity she's aligned with, ends up controlling Martian mineral rights once the deal closes. Viewers have noted her framing of every negotiation consistently favors Kurgan's corporate access over Soviet state access. No aired episode confirms she's running a betrayal, but her track record across Seasons 2, 3, and 4 is a consistent pattern of treating alliances as disposable. The uncomfortable question the theory raises is whether the revolution succeeds only to swap one master for another. AJ breaks the cycle. AJ Jarrett is the granddaughter of Danny Stevens and the daughter of Danny Stevens Jr., 2 men who both came apart on Mars, and the fan theory that she's the show's definitive proof that inherited trauma isn't destiny is the most quietly emotional unresolved arc in Season 5. AJ, born Avery Stevens, never knew either her father or grandfather. Danny Stevens Jr. took his own life after being exiled on Mars, and AJ changed her name and put the history behind her. Now she's part of the multinational force heading directly to the planet that killed both of them. In Episode 8, she breaks down after watching Sergeant Ruiz die, and the show deliberately refuses to explain whether that's inherited fragility or just a rational response to a catastrophic situation. Both interpretations are left open, and fans have noted that's a deliberate narrative choice. The theory predicts AJ will face a moment structurally identical to the one that destroyed her father, and that she'll make a different call. Fans tracking the Danny Stevens arc across Seasons 3 and 4 read Mars as a place that strips away self-deception, and AJ's arc appears to be testing whether knowing that about the planet provides any protection at all. If the show delivers the break-the-cycle ending fans are predicting, it pays off a 4-season character legacy that most casual viewers missed entirely. Mid-CTA section. The theory about what Margot Madison's prison arc is actually setting up for Season 6 is the sleeper play hiding in plain sight all season, and fans have the receipts. Margot is serving a life sentence in federal prison in Houston, but she's still advising the current Helios CEO from behind bars. Her only visitor is Aleida Rosales, her former student, and it was Margot who told Aleida to take the Sojourner to Titan. The theory is that her isolation from every institution is deliberate setup, making her Season 6's free agent, positioned to broker whatever comes after the Mars crisis resolves. The show is ending with Season 6 confirmed, and the finale of a series this committed to character legacy rarely leaves its most important through-line figure permanently in a cell. By the way, if you're finding these theories as compelling as we do, I post videos like this all the time. Subscribing would really help out. Thanks. Titan life changes everything. Kelly Baldwin just landed on Titan. The Seeker drones already registered biosignature candidates in the methane seas, and the fan theory that a confirmed Titan life discovery would make every political conflict on Mars suddenly irrelevant is the most seismic unresolved thread in Season 5. Early in the season, data from Walt Griebel's Seeker probe program showed a strong possibility of life in Titan's methane oceans, specifically pointing to acrylonitrile-based cell-like structures called azotosomes. Kelly and her crew successfully landed the Sojourner on Titan in Episode 7. The theory argues that actual microbial life, even a single confirmed example, would be the most significant event in human history, and would shift every government's priorities away from iridium geopolitics immediately. Fans point to the show's structural habits as evidence, noting that For All Mankind finales have always escalated on multiple simultaneous axes: the Goldilocks sequence in Season 4, the Moon Incident in Season 2. A finale delivering both Martian independence and first contact at the same time would fit that pattern exactly. Whether the Seeker data confirmed life or just biosignature candidates has been deliberately left ambiguous through Episode 8. Real-world NASA and JPL research published in March 2026 found that acrylonitrile doesn't self-assemble into azotosome structures the way scientists had hoped. But the show operates in an alternate history with its own scientific baseline, so the in-universe data stands on its own terms. If the Titan thread delivers in the finale, it transforms what looked like a political thriller into the show's most ambitious pivot since the Goldilocks heist. Celia Boyd's betrayal. Celia Boyd went from a disaffected Helios worker to the de facto military commander of the Mars Revolution in 8 episodes. And the theory that her arc peaks with a betrayal of Miles, the man who made her believe she could lead, is backed by the show's track record with characters who rise too fast. In Episode 8, Celia piloted a hopper loaded with fertilizer explosives through a Mars dust storm to destroy the docking platform at Kuznetsov Station, a mission that killed at least one person. Miles was the first person who told her she had it in her to lead. The theory draws a structural parallel to Karen Baldwin in Season 3, a character whose emotional transformation accelerated until she made a decision that harmed the person who'd inspired her. The specific version here predicts that Celia will face a choice between Mars' freedom and Miles' safety, and she'll prioritize the movement. No aired episode shows her moving against him. This is pattern analysis built on the show's habits, but Morel Enos noted in a fangirlish interview that Celia even warned her enemies before the bombing mission, prioritizing moral instinct over tactical advantage, and the show tends to spotlight that kind of clarity right before it gets tested. For All Mankind has never let a revolution succeed without extracting a personal toll from someone at its center. Dev Ayesa's long game. Dev Ayesa disappeared from the show after Season 4's Goldilocks standoff, and the theory that he's been running Helios' automation plan from the background, positioning Meru as the post-independence Mars he always intended to build, is the one theory Season 5's writers haven't bothered to disprove. Dev founded Helios with the vision of a self-sufficient, million-person Mars city that was always curated, exclusive, and automation-enabled. The 98% automation plan Helios and Kurgan have been hiding, the one designed to replace every working-class Mars resident and send them back to Earth, matches Dev's original Meru concept almost exactly. Fans argue the alignment is too precise to be coincidental, and that Dev is still the ideological engine behind the partnership, even without an on-screen presence. The theory predicts he re-emerges in the finale, or Season 6, as the person who benefits most from whatever deal ends the crisis, because a post-independence Mars, with a reduced human workforce and premium amenities, is exactly the world he was building all along. The 1776 parallel breaks bad. The creators explicitly drew the Mars Revolution from the American Revolution, and the fan theory that Season 5 is actually staging the Revolution's dark, uncertain phase, not its triumphant founding moment, predicts the show is about to deliver its own version of the chaos before the Declaration. Showrunners Ben Nadivi and Matt Wolpert confirmed that the American Revolution was the primary historical template, specifically citing how the distance between England and its colonies mirrors the Earth to Mars lag. The Sons and Daughters of Mars name directly echoes the Sons of Liberty, confirmed as intentional. But the theory argues the show isn't staging the Declaration of Independence equivalent. It's staging the year before it, when the colonists were seen as violent insurrectionists and the outcome was genuinely uncertain. The SDM's bombing of Kuznetsov Station in Episode 8 is the show's Boston Massacre moment, where the moral clarity of the revolution gets complicated by real casualties. Fans predict the Season 5 finale delivers a messy compromise with contested legitimacy, closer to the Articles of Confederation than to the Constitution. Ben Nadivi's confirmation that there's one season left supports this, implying the full independence arc resolves in Season 6. The American Revolution wasn't clean, and, for all mankind, has never rewarded easy victories. Aleida becomes NASA. Aleida Rosales has gone from NASA engineer to Helios CEO, and the fan theory that by the final episode of Season 6, she ends up running NASA itself, completing the institutional arc Margot Madison started in Season 1, is the career trajectory theory the show has been building since Season 2. Aleida is the only person Margot trusts to carry her legacy. In Season 5, she made the call to send Sojourner to Titan using a NASA asset, blurring the lines between private and governmental space programs in a way that positions her to eventually lead either one. Inverse, in a Season 5 interview, called Aleida the most important character and the key to the show's future. The show is ending with Season 6, and the theory predicts Aleida's arc provides the generational closure the Margot story set up, taking charge of the institution her mentor built and then lost. The Iridium Trap. The fan theory that Iridium is not Mars's salvation but its trap, that by making Earth economically dependent on a single resource, the Martians have created the conditions for a permanent conflict they can never fully win, is the most pessimistic reading of Season 5, and possibly the most accurate. Season 5's newsreel cold opens established that Earth's global economy has become dependent enough on Martian iridium that countries without access to it are in visible crisis. The blockade immediately destabilized both the United States and the Soviet Union, which was exactly the SDM's leverage. But the theory argues that leverage is a trap. By making iridium the basis of their bargaining power, Mars has made itself indispensable, and indispensability cuts both ways. Any future Martian government will spend its entire existence defending the supply from Earth's attempts to reclaim it. The theory predicts the independence Mars wins will be sovereignty over land, but permanent military vulnerability, driven by the thing that made sovereignty possible. The show established this structural pattern across 4 seasons, with each prize in the space race creating the next conflict, and the theory applies that logic forward into Season 6. Peacekeeper Defection. Earth sent the Peacekeeper security force to impose order on Mars, and the fan theory that at least one member defects to the SDM before the season ends is backed by the show's consistent habit of sending soldiers to Mars and letting the planet change them. AJ Jarrett is part of the multinational force heading to the colony, and her connection to the planet makes her the most compelling candidate for a defection arc. Her father took his own life after being exiled there. She never knew him. Now she's flying toward the same place with orders to retake a colony of people who call it home. The theory says AJ doesn't follow those orders once she's on the ground. Instead of falling apart the way her father did, she chooses Mars the way he couldn't. AJ's specific decision in unaired episodes hasn't been confirmed, but the structural pattern supports the broader theory. Every time For All Mankind has sent Earth forces to Mars, at least one person ended up on the other side of the line. The showrunner team described AJ's arc to TV Insider as a comeback story, which is the language this show uses for reversal, not destruction. An AJ defection would resolve the Danny Stevens legacy and shift the military dynamics of the finale in the same move. Irina gets the last move. Every faction in Season 5 thinks they're using Irina Morozova, and the fan theory that she's actually the one person who ends this season holding more power than she started with is built on a clean reading of her arc. Irina arrived on Mars through Kurgan with no institutional standing, 3 years out of a Siberian labor camp, and technically nobody. By Episode 8, she'd brokered an alliance between the Soviet governor, the Coup faction in Moscow, and the Martian rebels. An extraordinary amount of real influence for someone with no official title. The theory says her endgame is to emerge as the de facto power broker of the post-independence Mars economy, the person both sides need and neither can touch. Fans point to the Star City spin-off, which premieres on the same day as the Season 5 finale, as supporting evidence. Star City is a Soviet perspective prequel, and Irina is the show's most prominent Soviet character still alive, making her an obvious bridge figure between both series. If the theory holds, she's the season's most consequential player, and the one the show has consistently done the most to keep you from rooting for. Season 6 begins the moment Season 5 ends. The theory that For All Mankind Season 5 doesn't resolve the Mars conflict so much as hand it off, with the finale's final frame deliberately designed to make Season 6 the show's most anticipated premiere since Season 1, is the biggest structural claim in the fan theory space, and the one with the most direct evidence. Series creators Ben Nadivi and Matt Wolpert told Collider that the finale will leave viewers either screaming or sitting in stunned silence, language this show uses before cliffhangers, not clean resolutions. Season 6 was confirmed as the final season on the same day Season 5 premiered, March 27, 2026. Season 3 ended with the Moon incident's political fallout just beginning. Season 4 ended with Goldilocks secured, but the M6 already mobilizing a response. Every For All Mankind finale has been a setup for what follows, not a resolution of what came before. Nadivi's comment that knowing there's one season left adds emotional weight implies the Season 5 finale is calibrated to make Season 6 essential viewing. The double premiere date of May 29th, with the Season 5 finale and Star City launching the same day, suggests coordinated marketing for a universe-expanding moment. Season 5 isn't the climax of the Mars Revolution, it's the first half of a two-season finale, and every unresolved thread in it was put there on purpose. If you found these theories worth digging into, subscribing means you won't miss the breakdown when the finale drops. Thanks for watching.